Basic musicianship, lesson 5. Let's talk about ledger lines now. Portia, would you put that grand staff back up here for us?
All right.
Remember our grand staff, our treble clef up here, the right hand for the piano player usually, and the bass clef down here, the left hand of the piano player usually, and a bracket that puts those all together with an imaginary line that goes in between, right? And we have to have a way of showing where that line is and there being a pitch on that. And we showed you the middle C last time. Thanks so much because, beautiful, yeah. Well, that little line hanging out here and with nothing else attached to it has a name. It's called a ledger line, right? And we can think of that ledger line as being, say, attached to maybe the treble clef staff or attached to the bass clef staff. It wouldn't matter if they were both off on their own somewhere like that. But then we have another, issue or problem here. And so as we start with our C, right, and then our D, and our E, and our F, and our G, and our A, right, and then we B, C, D, E, F, and then maybe I can place up on top of this space, I can see now I have a G there. But now what do we do, Portia?
Well, to continue moving higher, we need ledger lines to continue an extension of the staff.
So if I'm a composer and I'm writing my new John Williams film score and I want pitches that are higher than what's in the 5 lines of the treble clef staff, I have to use ledger lines to communicate to my players for my score.
So if we left off here with the G, the next ledger line would be an A. Ledger line with the next space would be a B, and so forth as we continue going higher and higher. We're going to add another ledger line, another line or space to continue as we go higher.
Yeah, well, what about if I wanted to write something really low, like below the bass clef staff? Can we use ledger lines down there?
Yes, we can. So if we start here with a G, then we go down to F. Our first ledger line underneath the bass clef is an E. And then the next space is a D. And then we have a C, and we can keep going, adding more notes lower and lower.
More lines.
More lines?
Yeah,
Yeah,
more lines.
more lines.
Wow. Yeah, and so there you have it. We have ledger lines. All right.
So notice that these extensions of the staff help us keep track of what pitch we're playing.
I'm going to say that once you get a whole bunch of ledger lines, it's going to be difficult to read. Is there a shortcut, a shorthand way to write playing things maybe down an octave?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
All right.
What is that?
So let's say I have more ledger lines down here, and it gets a little tricky to read. What I could do is write this up an octave, like so. So this is our G, our A, and our B. And then I can write 8 VB and have a dash following the extension of which notes are under that to mean that we're going to play these notes down an octave. We're reading them like this, but we know that we're going to take them down an octave.
Right, we'll take them down to the G that's below that.
So this G is actually going to be that G.
Yeah, I got that. Can you do that up above the treble clef
Yes,
staff
we
as well?
can. So,
in fact, you could do it above the bass clef staff if you wanted, right?
yes, we could. So let's say, here in our bass clef we have these pitches, but we want to play them up an octave. So right here we have our G, A, and B. I can say 8 VA with my dashed section here, and this means instead of playing these pitches, this G, that A, that B, we are gonna play this G, that A, and that B.
Because those are an octave
So
above.
this is an
Yeah.
octave,
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah.
notes are an octave above these pitches.
Yeah, great. Now we could do the same thing here. We could write AVA over any of these, and it would send everything up an octave, right?
Exactly, so if I did the AVA here, I would get
That goes-
these three notes here.
Yeah. All right. And that is lesson 5.